Within the first shoot of Pursuing to Think, we had a very low angle from the ground. This was to show a dramatic effect as they walked out the elevator. We had a very low lighting state when making this shot. We only used one additional light, alongside the natural lighting in the room. As there is no camera movement, we did not have to have anyone operating the camera apart from pressing record. In post-production, I have added a lower colour tone. Within this shot, I was acting, meaning that I was not operating any camera equipment. I feel from this shot, we could have improved the angle, in terms of moving the camera with the actors as they walked out the room, but in different stages. I feel the dramatic effect is really given with this shot. In this shot, we used the shoulder mount on the floor, which gave the right height that we wanted. If I was to shoot this shot again, I would use the right type of tripod and have an additional screen to see what's on the camera. The second shot was designed to be placed after the first shot of walking out the elevator. We used the same lighting state as the first shot, which was using a ring light. Carter and I were acting, meaning Lewis was using the shoulder rig to follow us moving out of the room. I feel the shot went down very well, as the footage came across very smooth and the transition from one shot to the next was very good. We had to mark out where the cameraman was going to stand, as his reflection could have been seen within the door window. This worked well, as we did not see the reflection of Lewis within the window. I feel there isn't anything I would change to this shot, apart from the corridor location. The equipment that we used was perfect in this scenario. For the close-up on Carter's face, we used the shoulder rig in reverse, with one person having the shoulder mount on their shoulder at the front, and the person behind who was being filmed holding the two joysticks. As we did not have the right sort of equipment that you normally use in this situation, I feel that it worked extremely well. In post-production, I have added some stabilisation to the footage, as well as changing the colour tone, like the other shots that I've done so far. I love the look of this shot, with the way that it shows the characters' facial expressions. If I was to redo this shot, I'd most probably like to use the crane and dolly. This is because I feel like it is the correct way to do it, and you would get an even smoother shot. Within the following two shots, we have used the same methods within the shots number 1 and 2. Within the shot of the two dead people and the man coming out of the elevator, we used a tripod with a dolly on the bottom. As the video is cut, you can't see the camera moving with the actor, but in a practical sense, it worked very well. Like the previous shots, I've used the same colour grading, as I wanted to keep the same look and feel within each of these building shots. With this shot, I would have liked to have changed the camera motion, and instead of being one single shot, having two separate shots. One like the first, with a very low angle of just the two men who have been beaten up and the man with the folders feet. And a second shot of a close-up of just shoulders up of the man walking out the elevator and out of the building. Within all the following shots, I've used a slight grain filter. This is to give a dark and gloomy vibe. Alongside this, I have changed the contrast and exposure of each of the shots, depending on the location. With the shot of Lewis under the bridge, it was hard to get to the right light, as there were lots of shadows with the bridge hanging over him. As a result, we used a small LED panel. I thought this worked very well, as when he turns his head toward the camera, you can see his facial expressions. I really like this shot and feel, as it sets a scene and shows what the character is doing. Filming the man walking from a side profile, I feel looks very good. I used a homemade gimbal / glide cam mechanism. This was done with a few cables that we had put around the camera handle. This gave a smoother effect than if it was to be handheld. If I was to film this shot again, I would most probably use a dolly and tripod, but I still think it looks very good. As of COVID-19, we were not actually able to get half the footage we originally planned to get. This was very annoying, as I was excited to collect the rest of our shots that we had planned, and as the footage that we did get was so good, it would have been nice to finish the original story. As of the global pandemic, it did cause limitations, but did bring out more creativity. I'm happy with what I have done within this production of Pursuing to Think, but feel we could have communicated better as a group, as at one point we had roles assigned to one person, but they unfortunately dropped out the production later on. As a group we could have also used lighting more creatively, but as we are not able to film half of our stuff, the office scene, unfortunately, with most of the grip equipment and lighting states, was dropped out. This would have also allowed me to take a better and larger role within gaffer and grip as well. If I was to film this production again, I would like to change a few of the locations and have more organised job role layouts, as I feel that we just all jumped in each of the roles.